So, you bought the wrong shade of foundation. Is it darker than your skin tone or is it lighter than your skin tone? I'm going to show you how to take your face from this to this. This is without changing your foundation or having to buy any new additional products. So, if you're ready, let's begin. To demonstrate today's tutorial, on purpose, I'm going to be using a darker shade of foundation on my right side, darker meaning darker than my skin tone, and a lighter shade of foundation on my left side. Then I will show you how to rectify it. But let's get done prepping the skin first before I apply the foundations. And for that, I'm going to be using the Hydro Boost. This is by Makeup Forever. You can, of course, use any primer that you have. Let's start on my right side, and for that I'm going to be using the Haus Labs Triclone Skin Tech Foundation, and I'm using the shade Medium Neutral, which is a couple shades deeper than my skin tone. I like to apply to the center of my face before I blend it out towards the hairline. Although the camera doesn't catch much, this foundation looks pretty dark on me in person. But what a beautiful foundation this is, one of my favorites. It covers everything that you want it to cover, but still gives you that beautiful skin-like radiant finish. Now for my left side, I'm going to be using the Fenty Pro Filter Foundation, and this is in the shade 240, which is pretty light on my skin. This is in fact a few shades lighter than my skin tone. And again, I'm going to dot it to the center of my face before I spread it out towards my hairline. The brush that I'm using is from Real Techniques. It's the foundation brush, but just a reminder that you don't need the exact products that I'm using. You can use what you have, just follow the technique. Okay, so now we have a darker shade of foundation on one side and a lighter shade of foundation on the other side. I apologize for the white balance on the camera. Anytime I turn off the camera and turn it on when I take a break, it switches the white balance. I just went to pick up my kids and I'm back again and the white balance is off. So I truly apologize for that. And yes, I went to pick up my kids looking like this. Okay, so going back to the tutorial, the first thing that I'm going to do is conceal my dark circles and hyperpigmentation. And for that, I'm going to be using a concealer that's a true match to my skin tone. And I'm using the Milani concealer in the shade 145. I'm going to be using it on both sides of my face. I like to apply the concealer and let it dry just a tad bit, because when you blend it out when it's tacky, it gives you more coverage, because the tools that you're using, whether you're using a brush or a sponge, will not absorb the product as much. So no matter what shade of foundation you have on your face, just use a concealer that's a true match to your skin to conceal any hyperpigmentation and uneven skin tone. Now for my right side, where I use the deeper shade of foundation, I'm going to use a concealer that's lighter than my skin tone to rectify it. And when I choose a concealer, I'm going to choose something that's at least 2 shades lighter than my skin tone. The one that I'm using here is the Milani concealer in the shade 135. I'm going to use this as a highlight on my face on the highest planes, including my cheekbones, my jaw, center of my forehead. And if you observe carefully, because we have a deeper shade of foundation, it's going to act as your contour. So what we are doing here is basically reverse contouring, meaning you're using a highlight or a lighter shade of concealer to bring out the contour on your face, which is the darker shade of foundation. As you can now see, the combination of the lighter concealer and the deeper foundation is adding a good amount of dimension to my face. You can completely skip contouring at this point if you have a deeper shade of foundation on, or if you just want to add a little bit more dimension, you can add just a tad bit more contour. Now for my left side, where I have the lighter shade of foundation on, I'm going to use a deeper shade of concealer to rectify it. This is the ColourPop Pretty Fresh Concealer, and I'm using the shade 205N. I'm going to take it with an angled brush from Real Techniques and apply it in areas where I usually like to contour, like the circumference of my face, the hollows of my cheekbones, under my jawline, as well as my nose. So unlike the other side, what we're doing here is we are bringing out the highlight in the face, meaning because we already have a lighter shade of foundation, that's going to act as your highlighter, and we're just adding dimension by contouring the face. Now let's look at my face. It almost seems like I just used one foundation on both sides and just added some dimension. It's as simple as that. For the final step, I'm going to be using a setting powder, and the one that I'm using is Huda Beauty Banana Bread. You can again use any setting powder that you have. This will further neutralize and even out my skin tone. I would imagine if you bought a wrong shade of foundation, it's not way different than your skin tone, maybe like a couple shades lighter or darker, but it doesn't matter how dark or light your foundation is. You can always rectify it with a lighter or deeper shade of concealer in any shade. If you need more concealer, you can always layer up to even out your skin. Let's finish up the rest of the makeup as well. On my brows, I'm going to be using the Fenty Brow MVP Ultra Fine Pencil in the shade Dark Auburn. I just wanted to add a few light strokes to my brows, nothing crazy, so I'm using a lighter shade. Here's a little secret. When I used to freelance and when I used to do bridal makeup, I always carried a lighter and a darker shade of concealer to mix and match, and I've never had a problem. And mind you, I've gotten hundreds of brides ready and everyone's skin tone was so different. I'm going to curl my lashes before I use mascara, and the one that I'm going to be using today is the Say Mascara 101 for lengthening and lifting. This is a clean beauty brand available in Sephora and I'm loving their product so far. If you feel like for your bottom lashes you end up smudging, then try using a little bit of translucent powder under your lashes before you apply mascara and then dust it off after you've applied the mascara. For blush, I'm feeling peachy, so I'm going to be using this from the Ofra Blushful palette. I've been reaching out to this palette so much because it's got pretty much every shade that I need. For lipstick, I'm using something new from Milani. This is the long-lasting liquid lipstick and I absolutely love this shade. It's called the Vibe. It is one of my favorite shades. While the shades in this lipstick collection are absolutely beautiful, I have to tell you that they were a tad bit drying on my lips compared to the other lipsticks that I've tried. So please keep that in mind before you buy this. And here's the completed look. I don't know what it is, although I didn't do much makeup other than just rectify my foundation and finish up with a bit of mascara and lipstick and of course blush. I absolutely love the way this turned out. This is so me, just simple and not over the top. I'd love to hear your feedback, so let me know in comments. Did you find this technique simple enough? And if you enjoyed this video, as always, please don't forget to thumbs up. If you're new here, please consider subscribing to watch more videos like these and do check out the description box for all the good stuff. I love you guys so much and I will see you soon with a brand new one. Bye guys.